taxes!
He's a 10.
I choose this family.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 152 of 901 Lone Star Roundup. I'm Grace, and I am joined today by my lovely co-hosts Katie and EJ.
Hello.
Guys.
Today we're diving into the season 9 premiere of 901 titled Eat the Rich. And as always, there is so much to discuss. We were all talking a little bit about this before we got started, and I think we still have a lot of thoughts to say. So let's get into it.
I'm just glad we're back. Like it's official. 911's back.
I'm so
9.
excited to just yap about episodes again because I've literally missed it.
Yes, me too.
Same. Yes. So we open up in space, and essentially there are two astronauts. They're focusing on the ISS, and there's this guy doing repairs just out in the middle of space, no biggie. And he's communicating with his captain, and they wind up losing communication, and there's a whole bunch of debris flying towards them. And this poor guy out in space just winds up getting fucking clobbered.
Right.
Like,
Brie.
I don't think it really came back to him, but he got hit pretty smack in the back. I'm not sure he's going to be okay.
Yeah, that was an oops. Yeah.
I looked at him and I went, "Oh, he dead." I don't know if he's dead, but like that was a hit. That was
It
a break
really
your
was.
spine
Yeah.
hit.
And then it was 2 weeks earlier, which was like, okay, this typical 911 did that. And I was like, I just want to know more about
I
that.
called it though. I
Yeah.
called it though. I said they were going to do this.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it is the formula for like our emergencies. This is just what we get.
But since we only had the two like people, I was a little like, oh, are we doing the like beforehand? Or the like, going back in time? And yeah, we were. We'll be coming back to that. But I would just like to point out that this is for sure the second that I can name, but I feel like the third, and I can't remember what else the other one was, where there's been like a major emergency happening where there's a woman in charge of some sort, whether it was like the cruise ship like captain, or like here there's like his captain, and like a guy that's like immediately under her in some degree, and they just wind up getting wiped out in like horrible ways. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
I feel like there's a third one. I cannot remember. It's bugging me because I know there's another one and I can't think of it. But I'm like, it's a cruise ship, and like her first mate that died
Oh wait,
horribly. And
the
this one for sure.
airplane?
Was it the airplane?
Possibly. I don't know, but
It might have been the airplane. Did someone get sucked like out through the roof or something? I feel like I don't know. I feel like it must have been the airplane, but I don't really remember. I'm just like, anyway. I just thought that was funny. I'm like, I feel like this is maybe an accidental like formula they're following lately, which yay woman power, but like, oh damn, these second in commands are getting anyway, that's just like my little supplement there. We're gonna move on to 2 weeks earlier, Bobby's dedication ceremony. Oh, was everyone else just like kind of sad watching?
Yeah. We knew it
yeah,
was coming, but
it's still sad. And like I'm not like at the level of like, oh my God, Bobby must be alive kind of thing, but like I am sad. Like it's just every episode, like I'm just like sort of expecting Bobby to just come around the corner, and like especially this episode, I'm
No.
just like, oh Bobby, oh no. And I'm like, we're with the 118 in this because they all have those feelings, and even in like with real life, you have those same feelings. Like I recently lost somebody who was older and was a former coworker, and it's just like we talked on holidays and all that stuff. And so like I haven't had very many holidays since, when a holiday hits, it's gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna get a text, and so I get what they're feeling in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that a lot. I mean, and there's so many times I have the itch to pick up my phone and call my parents. I can't do it, so I get it.
Same with my grandma. I still have my grandma's and my former coworker. I still have their numbers in my phone, and I don't have the heart to like take them out of my phone.
It's just such a sense of finality.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and
yeah.
I don't think I ever will. I think I'm just gonna forever keep them in there.
Right.
Yeah, understandable. Yeah, we've definitely all had like experiences with loss, and people that meant a lot to us. And so I think we all have something, here that we're
Yeah.
feeling.
I can truly feel
Uh,
what 118 is going through. Everyone.
yeah,
I mean, because we
yeah.
all take it differently and it hits us differently. So,
Absolutely. So they've dedicated the station itself, the 118, to Bobby. And I really liked Chu Simpson's words. And then obviously we got Chim speaking as interim captain. And he gave this speech. He says how when Simpson first spoke to him about a tribute for Cap, they had debated on what to do, and they wondered if they should make the Robert Nash Memorial ladder truck or a building at the academy to inspire new recruits. And Jim realized that when he thinks of Bobby, he pictures him, there in the station, manning the stove, gathering all around the table, taking a tram team and making it into a family. And like that is how we all see Bobby too. So,
from
yep,
day one. Yeah.
that's coming straight from the fandom's heart too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and now you have this plaque to tell everyone who walks through the doors what we already know, and that it's Bobby's house.
I love that. And it's the way Chim said it. I was like, I literally, before he said it, I said Bobby's house. And then he said, like, it's Bobby's house. And I was like, oh, yes.
Yeah, because it always will be.
Yeah. Well, and I think, Buck was a rookie there. Bobby had only been there a shorter time with Hen and Chim and Tommy previously and Sal and all them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, since day one, like Bobby's like, we're going to eat together. He really did turn it from a team to a family.
He did. Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking, wasn't there a situation where like they were going to go after the Bobby and they thought Bobby's house and they had gone to Athena's, but then didn't they, like, isn't that when the truck bombing happened? Because they went after his house, quote unquote house. It was the truck, or am I getting it mixed up with Lone Star when
No.
TK and Carlos's
No,
condo?
those were very similar. Those were very similar, like trains of thought. But you're right. That is what happened. The bomber, because they did find a suspicious package on Athena's doorstep, but they didn't find anything with Bobby himself, and they weren't yet married and living together.
Right.
Or maybe they were
I think they were living together, but they weren't married.
Yeah, they eloped at the end of season 2.
Yeah, at the end of season. Okay, yeah. So they weren't living together yet, I don't think.
Right.
But they searched Bobby's apartment, couldn't find anything. And they were like, well, what do you mean? And then Bobby figured out that it was 118, and that's when truck bombing happened.
And that episode, Buck was sitting in the seat that Bobby would normally be sitting in.
Yes, he was. Yeah, that's how we got trapped. How interesting that storyline would have gone. How interesting the show would have gone if Bobby had been in that seat. I don't know if anyone's ever thought of that before, but like, imagine all the things that would change in the show if Buck had not been sitting in that seat.
That's like a whole new series.
That's a whole definitely a whole. It definitely like would invalidate almost all of season 3, at least if not most of like the later bit as well. And it would change a lot. Anyway, we can go over that another time, but I was just like, wait a second.
Tangents. Sorry.
We're back. So afterwards, Jim's talking about it with Maddie, and is it me? Do they just have her in like the wrong clothes to be able to say this, or did they not do the scar for her throat?
Honestly, I wasn't paying attention, but it would surprise me because let's be honest, they're not going to, and then we even talked about this last season when we were talking about this, is like now they're eventually not going to do it because it's just so much to like upkeep. And I guess I was thinking they'd keep it up for a while because even Chim's scar from his rebar, they kept it up for a little bit after it happened, and then it was just like that never happened.
I just know it because like in this scene in particular, I was looking at her neck and I was like, either I've got the wrong placement or they didn't keep it up, which like it's fine. Like it doesn't actually change anything in the show. But like it's one thing to not be keeping up with like Buck's scars that he would have for like lightning strike, though we didn't really ever have the scars in there afterwards. We just had behind the scenes or like the scars on his legs from his operation. It's one thing not to those. We don't see those parts of his body all that much. And also it's been a little bit of time after most of those things. But I'm like, if you don't want to keep up with scars, do less obvious injury.
Yeah.
Literally, it's not like a huge deal, but it's like,
It's one of those things.
and honestly, I'm not really surprised by it. They did keep it up for like the last few episodes of last season, and
Which at least they did that.
I
give them
yeah,
that.
I was just about to
Yeah.
say at least we got that because
Yeah.
but I'm not surprised.
Anyhow, that another tangent. I was just wondering if I was going crazy. Chim's talking about how Bobby would hate having his name on the wall and that Chim hates it too. And Maddie reminds Chim that he is doing a good job holding it all together and that Bobby would be proud of him, just not as proud as she is of him. And I was like, oh, you're so cute. Maddie. Chim's saying, how they don't hate me yet, and Maddie has to remind him that the vibes here are good. Maddie makes a comment about how that partnership seems to be going well, meaning Hen and Eddie as they're laughing their asses off in a corner. And Chim's like, I don't know why I was worried. And of course, Buck is talking to Robbie, and he's getting a little jealous. We know Buck, he gets a little jealous. And he's talking about, the dream team getting into rhythm. But okay, here's the thing. I love how they don't really acknowledge this in the show because it's like, of course they work together well. They've worked together for years, but also they've literally been working as medics before.
Yeah.
They've literally worked on the ambulance before.
That was my thought because I'm like they've literally worked together before and they're making it seem like this is the first time and I'm just like okay. Like I get it's more
5?
Yeah.
When Chim took off after Maddie?
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was season 5 or season 6.
And when Chim was recovering from stuff in season 2, remember when he got hurt from Doug?
I mean, I do remember that. I just don't remember like Eddie and
together.
Hen specifically working together at that time.
But I feel like they didn't. I feel like they didn't really highlight like the wait.
Maybe they didn't. Maybe I'm just thinking that would have been a time that.
I don't.
Now I'm curious.
Yeah,
but I don't think so.
That's kind of my thought too. But like I get that whatever they're trying to do here, I get that it's like a more permanent situation as of right now.
Yeah.
But like we've seen them work together, so I think it's funny where we're just highlighting this like jealousy for Buck and like even Ravi's like, but you guys have worked together 4 years. Hen and Eddie have worked together 4 years.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, before I watched this episode, I was seeing things floating around online about this Buck being jealous of Eddie and all that, like being jealous again. And I was like, obviously interpretations up to whatever people. I'm not going to tell people how to read into the scene. For me, I actually kind of thought it made sense because we know Buck was struggling at the end of last, like feeling like he belonged, his place in the family, struggling with losing Bobby. And we also know he struggled with feeling abandoned. We know he struggled with Eddie going in and out of his life on other occasions. And just his place in there in general, I'm not surprised at it. I'm not really thinking it's anything beyond this. That
Right.
he's just lost. And I am kind of glad that they seem to be picking up that thread from last season. I hope they continue pick up on it and actually do something about it this season because we have explored this thread so many times with no actual resolution. I'm really hoping we do something. But I was just saying, I'm like it is a thing, but I think most of what I've seen on it online are not actually, I think, following the thread. I think is being set. Obviously, interpretations up to different people.
Right.
That's just what I'm seeing.
Well, kind of along that, I think it's I've noticed I don't do well with change, so I recognize it in other people, and I definitely notice it in Buck because
I do so badly with change.
Oh, me too, so bad.
He already had to deal with the change of Eddie leaving in 5B, and then 5B, and then again. He left in season 8 for a while. And, now I think you know, in Buck's mind, oh, Eddie's back. He's back on the truck with me. Like nothing's going to change there. And then with Bobby gone, you know, Hen's partner per se on the ambulance is gone because Chim's interim captain. And so he's in a different position, which leaves a spot on the ambulance. So, and Eddie was a combat medic. So of all the people on the truck, Eddie is the most qualified to be her partner. So I think there's definitely some issues with him, just like it's changed that he didn't expect. And now that he's kind of being faced with it. And even though he like logically knows that Hen and Eddie have worked together for years, just like he and Hen have worked together for years, just the very semi-permanence of it is a little different for him. And I think he's just still processing that.
Yeah, and I think it's all just like a compilation of things, like all teetering on Bobby being gone originally. And like I know that like I can logically know as many things as I would like, but my anxiety, my abandonment issues, my like fear of rejection, all of those things, which I also see in Buck, all of those things won't listen. They're still, and actually, I feel like sometimes it's more exhausting to have my logical mind arguing with it because it's the constant back and forth. It's a roller coaster. It's not one high of anxiety, it's the up and down. And that is such an emotional, exhausting roller coaster that, like, obviously, projection onto a fictional character, but I do think it's what they're putting down here. It's like I feel what Buck is going through, and yeah, it's difficult and it's going to be difficult. I hope they keep talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, on a side note, quick side thing, I wish they would, just for my insanity, like actually elaborate on what clearance Eddie has on the ambulance side of things, because combat medic is different than
Mm-hmm.
paramedic, and you
Yeah.
have to get different qualifications and stuff. I would
Mm-hmm.
love, we got talk later, and I'll talk about it when we get to it, about Chim's like certifications and stuff, like the test he has to take. So we talked about that. I would love to hear what Eddie's actually qualified
Yeah.
to do on the ambulance. Like, is he an EMT? Is he a paramed? Is he an AEMT? Like, what?
Right.
What?
Yeah, that's a good question. And yeah, I know for myself personally, I know in people in my life who have been in different fields like that in the military will help them get transitioned into an equivalent civilian position. So I imagine something similar to that happened here with his military experience.
Maybe.
But I remember also with Hen, when she was going through it, she also was like, during Fire Academy, she was also going through EMT training and all that. So I feel like Eddie would have done something similar, at
It all
least.
happens at the same
Yeah.
time, but paramedics are a different qualification than
And don't you have to have like
EMTs.
a medical degree too? Not like an MD, but I think you have to have a bachelor's in something like that.
So you can, so okay. For anyone who missed it, I am currently getting my EMT training. So this is what I know based on my states for what it says. I think this is also National Registry. Is that you can get, if you go to school to be a paramedic, you can go into programs that take as long and sort of count as a bachelor's degree, but they're not necessarily regarded as the same thing. Now, I might be wrong on that. That is what I remember. But paramedic training can take like 2 years. My EMT training is taking up to 6 months because of the particular program I'm in. Some people do it in far less. Some people do it a little bit more. And mine is not specifically through the Fire Academy because I'm taking it through a volunteer program. If I go through, or when I join a career department and go through the Fire Academy, it will be shorter because I'll already have my EMT training. But it also depends on the county I get hired in, because I'm not going to work career in a county that I am going to be certified to volunteer as an EMTM. So obviously that transfers over. But all that is to say is that there is a lot more hours. Like my course for to be an EMT is 207 hours. You are getting about 1,000 hours of training as a paramedic. 1,000 to 1,300, I want to say, but I might be a little
Makes
shaky
sense.
on that range. So yeah, it takes a long time, is what I'm saying. I got on a fun tangent.
No, it's good to know. And I
But yeah.
imagine he's administered medication before. So I know he's got at least some sort of, not just basic EMT.
He could be an AMT, or he could be fully qualified as a paramedic. I don't know. Again, I'd love for them to elaborate,
Yeah,
but
I
they
would too.
probably won't. Okay, so now we're with May and Harry. May says that she has enough credits to graduate in December. We love an early graduation.
I was like, of course
And
you do,
then,
sweetie.
of course you do. And then it comes up that Harry is living with May. And he says it's because he didn't want to switch schools. Sue says to give Athena her best and that she's sorry she didn't see her today. And Harry says, us too. I'm like, oh.
Translation: the kids
Okay.
didn't even know she wasn't going to show up.
Mm-hmm. Then we go over and we see Karen saying that Athena's phone keeps going to voicemail, and Eddie's like, she didn't tell you she wasn't coming. And Hen says that there was text this morning, and apparently she said something came up.
I was not happy. I said I was not happy with
This next scene. Oh, we went through a roller coaster of thoughts.
Okay, I will say that I will say I did not because I kind of caught on immediately to what was actually happening. Because I was like, there's no possible way that this is
I mean, I
actually what's
did,
happening.
but I still spiraled.
No, that's fair. But also I was like, I was so in denial that this could possibly happen at all that my brain immediately went to, oh, she's like being undercover. Like I was in such denial this would ever happen. That's what. But yeah, it was definitely a little like, am I going crazy? And then I was like, no, actually I'm right. So she's out with this guy. I'm like, okay, this is I think we're all like, this is weird.
Yeah, pretty much. And you
Yeah.
guys, I'm like watching this scene and I'm like so turned off by the fact that like what is Athena doing? And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And then I'm like, this has gotta be part of case. Like there is no freaking way that she's on a freaking date. And I'm like, but this is not what we're talking about. They do some crazy ass shit. So this is why my mind started spiraling.
The way I recoiled at the sight of this man, I was like, ew, no.
I was like, why is Athena out with this man? And then I'm like, it's gotta be a case. And then of course she walks in the she says she has to go to the bathroom and she walks in the back into a cooler where Elaine and this other whatever dude is with her. And I'm just like, okay, this makes sense. And I went to back to like my normal state.
And here's the thing, I'm just like, yeah. It's also really funny because literally having just come from my restaurant shop earlier today, I was just like, you're sitting in the walk-in?
I know.
I know.
That's so wild.
I was like, of all places. And it was so funny because when she walked in and I figured out that it was like a case. Well, because I was kind of like, oh, is this or isn't, like, oh, is she moving on? And then the more she talks, I'm like, oh no, this is totally work related. I did not recognize Maynard with her hair down.
Oh, I didn't even realize. I didn't
Oh, I
look
knew
back.
it.
I was like,
Okay,
oh, no.
I knew it was her.
I knew it was her. I didn't realize she had her hair down. Like literally, you said that. I was like, she did. I
Oh,
didn't know
to
this.
be fair, I didn't pay attention to that. I just knew it was her.
That's fair. I feel like we've only maybe seen that like once or twice. I know we've seen it before, but I feel like we've only seen it once or twice. So, and then the FBI shows up and arrests this guy, and they take over the Athena had basically done all the work for him.
Right?
And I'm like, yep, that tracks.
And they're going to claim all the credit. Yippee. Okay. And then we have our man of the hour that probably should be arrested by the FBI. Trip.
Yeah.
Trip Hauser. And he is a tech billionaire that they're trying to repair his reputation. This was very on the nose.
It really
And
was.
I knew it'd be. I knew it would be. And I was like, I'm out there with that picket line. The
Yeah,
protesters
same.
also saying eat the rich.
This guy was giving like Elon.
Elon, but like
Elon
dumber.
and Trump like together.
He's our love child. Yeah. So it's a whole call that they're on, and he's out kayaking while on this business meeting where they're trying to repair his reputation or whatever. And in the middle of it, a whale swallows him.
Like, I knew this was
I'm
gonna
like,
happen. I was just like, oh my god.
also, listen, I love whales. I do. They're great, and humpbacks are fantastic. I enjoyed this rescue in general, and we'll get into it. But also, I just want to say, I think there is such a thing as the CGI being too good. It's a little too clean. There was just something about it the entire time that was bothering me. Like whenever the whale would show, especially like above the water, it's like, oh, there's something about this that's bothering me. And like I know it's CGI'd, but there's something wrong. There's just something that's not quite right. I don't know what it was, but I was like, maybe it just looks too good. I don't know.
Honestly, I was too much vibing with whatever was happening. I didn't think about it.
Mhm.
That's true. I just think it should have been a great white shark instead of, a humpback whale.
I mean,
But
I feel like they do shark things a little too much in shows, so like I honestly was like, okay,
oh, that's
here for
true.
this.
I'm just saying that and while we're talking about eating the rich, I'm saying feed the sharks as well.
Oh, for sure.
For legal reasons, that's a joke. Anyway, moving on. So the Coast Guard and the airport aren't there, and they won't be there for 12 minutes. And of course they won't. And they don't have 12 minutes. And the whales resurface like once every 45 minutes, so they also don't have that amount of time. And Maddie's just on Wikipedia looking up whale facts. And then Hen and
Why is
Eddie
she
are
It
just
like,
must
asking
run in
for-
the family.
and then and then Eddie and Hen are just like, oh yeah, we watched this documentary on IMAX.
Of course you did.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh, it was essentially they wind up pulling it together. They turn on the sirens, put the hose in the water, get the whale to surface, and it works like with a mating call, so to speak. I'm like, I mean, this poor whale, really. Like, he surfaces for food, he gets a throat ache, and then he thinks he's gonna get some, and then like,
Right.
this poor whale is not having a great day.
And then he's got something in his baleen.
Of course, Eddie jumps in
Oh,
to save
my
the guy
favorite
who
part.
winds up getting thrown up by the whale or whatever. And Jim's like, I didn't tell him to do that. And Buck was like, hey, I wanted to do
I
that.
wanted to do that.
That was so funny and so on par. And like literally, like the first time Bobby's not here to yell at somebody for doing something stupid.
Right.
It's making me think of the episode
I'm sure we're
where
thinking the
Tommy
same
does the
thing.
water drop. Yeah. And Eddie Spider-Man up the side of the house.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Buck was like, if I did that, I think you'd yell at me.
Right.
I was thinking about that scene earlier. I was just like, yep, that literally when I watched this the first time, that is the scene I was picturing. And I'm just like, so glad they had that moment in there because it was so good. And all I could think about is like Buck doing stupid things, usually being the one to do stupid things and get yelled at. I mean, I
And
get
now
the
Eddie's
desperate.
now Eddie's like, oh, Dad's gone, I'm gonna act.
I mean, I get what he was doing, but I'm
Oh,
also
yes.
like, okay.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's definitely a case where someone got him yelled at. So Eddie gets him and does CPR, and the trip wakes up and he's like, oh, thanks for saving me from the fish. And Hen's like, it's a mammals.
I'm like, that is one thing that irritates me all the time with people is that they call whales fish. And I was like, it's not a fish.
Yeah.
'Cause
They give birth. They
Mhm.
are mammals.
They are mammals.
They don't lay eggs. They give birth to fully formed baby. They are mammals.
Mhm.
I never really think about it, so I've probably called whales fish before, like in joking. I've never really thought about it, but no, they are mammals. Anyway, the humpback's a whole mood, and we just like see it swimming off in the distance. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
sorry, dude, go get some food and find another mate. Like, sorry, your evening was ruined. I kind of feel like the humpback kind of got the whole like someone walking behind like the scene of a show shooting, and you wind up becoming an accidental extra.
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like that's the vibe that was happening here. Anyway, I'm done. I just like making jokes on the whale's expense. So, okay, we run back, and Athena's finding out that the FBI hijacked their case and sent muffins, which yay. Thanks. Sure. She wasn't police. She's like the damn muffin man. Anyway, so she's she's already looking for the next case. And Elaine's like, there is none. You should go home.
Right.
Like that she wants to keep busy, but let me should rest. And Athena does go home to a quiet house. Yeah, it's just pains me to see Athena because I don't know, this just makes me so sad. She's
It's
struggling.
obvious she's not dealing with her grief very well.
She wasn't really in the last few episodes at the end of the 8th season either.
True.
She's struggling with that. And yeah, in the next scene, things get even better for her because she goes to get coffee and then finds out that Harry is working there and he dropped out of high school.
Yeah, because he's now
I didn't see that
18.
one coming.
No, I didn't either.
I know. But I was just like, wow, that went fast. I guess it makes sense, but I'm also like, I don't know, when he came back with like a completely different actor, I feel like we just jumped so far forward that I'm just like, oh my god, this confuses me so much. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's good to have him there. And I think the actor's job, with being Harry and all that. But
Oh yeah, for sure.
he's doing a good job, but it's definitely odd, especially having jumped through some of the I don't know, having earlier storylines where Harry was kind of on the sidelines and then he got kidnapped by that one motherfucker and then
Moved in with Michael.
and then all the drama between him and Athena before that.
Yeah.
Which I still hate to think about. That was not a great time. And then he moved in with Michael and David, and now suddenly he's here again. And I know this would feel so much more complete if we could have Michael and David come in and out of the show because it's so weird how everything went down. Obviously we know why they can't, but it's so weird.
Right.
But yeah, so this is interesting. Then we go on to our next emergency, which is concerning a school bus. And the bus goes from chaos, to which the driver says that he wishes all the kids were dropped dead, which I was like, oh, so what these kids? Because that's about to come into play here. And then he realizes that the kids were all passed out. But as soon as the driver notices that, he starts to pass out as well. And of course, someone calls it in saying he's drunk. But that's to give credit to the guy, he kind of did the correct thing. He got road. He was swerving and trying to keep everything together, and he did sort of crash into an outdoor dining area, but he hit the brakes just as he passed out. Give the guy some credit. He kind of did the I guess if there wasn't a better place to pull over, he did the best he could.
Right. And when he did stop, it was cool that it stopped and all it did was knock over a little vase on the table or a cup or something. I was like,
I know, I was like, oh, okay, that's a nice little touch.
Yeah.
But they wind up figuring out because they confirm he was only drinking water and they find out all the kids are passed out, and if the guy was drunk, all the kids wouldn't be passed out. So what's up with that? And they basically figure out that they were all breathing in antifreeze, which yay, but they don't have enough of the meds that they need because they need ethanol. So they hit up a liquor store.
I thought that was just so funny. I wonder what that person thought with these first responders showing up and just getting all this alcohol. It's like, should I be
And then
concerned?
saying it's not for us, it's for the kids.
I know, that's what got me. I was like, oh, it's for the children. Made it even worse.
Yeah, it's just maybe just shh, let's be quiet now.
Right.
They don't need to know your full life story.
You're making some assumptions there. They were thinking, sure, call CPS. But then they can get the kids to the hospital. The kids are really better and sort of drunk. And they're like, we gave them 2 shots of tequila. This guy has had I don't know, several ounces of 80 proof rum. And me and the bartender was just sitting here
I love that. Doctor's like,
oh no.
Their face was classic.
It's funny because once Chim put together what ethanol also is, and he was like, I'm so gonna be fine. Yeah, so the hospital staff was just going, what the fuck? Well, you know what now?
They're the 118's coming. Uh-oh.
Someone just is coming into work and their coworker texts them, oh yeah, the 118's bringing someone in. They just call out. Dealing with this shit.
They're like, please tell me that dude Evan Buckley didn't get hurt again.
The nurses should all have a bingo card for the 118.
Yeah, that would be good.
So Chief Simpson wants to see Hen, and she goes, into the department headquarters and all that, and guy takes her to a room, and he's like, they're in there, and she's like, they? And she walks in, and not only is Chief Simpson there, but also Trip.
Of course.
And the crisis manager person that was so pissed off at him last time, and the social media influencer, or manager kid. And she sees Trip and he wants to repay her. And she's like, oh, you don't have to. And Chief Simpson was like, the money would be good for the fire department for new rigs. Not just that, they could update the firehouse and get new equipment and even expand counseling service. Which
All
is
good
like,
things.
all good
Yeah.
things if you were just making a donation because you're a damn billionaire. Anyway, but that's not how the capitalism works. And it's like, oh, that's good. But Trip is asking for a favor.
Dun dun dun.
I don't like
Dun, dun,
this.
dun, dun.
We all know
We
where
just-
this is going, and I don't like it.
None of us like this, no. And then Hen goes home and tells Karen. And Karen is, I love how they did this actually.
So do I.
Mm-hmm. Same.
The way they did this scene was all I needed. Because how they pulled out. Because she's excited at first, like, oh my god, I'm in space, and then she's like, I can go to space. Like her the place she works for has multiple lawsuits against Trip, like people she works with. And also she's a serious scientist. And
Which she
tells
totally
her
is.
just and let's just do serious science. And then Hen's like, well, I don't want to go. And Sarah's like, you have to. One of us needs to go.
And she's like, I'll take one of the boys.
Yeah, she was like, I can't go by myself. So now Hen needs someone to go with her. Moving on to May showing up at Athena's. She calls her and Athena opens the door, is like, you're late. And May says she had class. Athena makes some comment about at least someone isn't abandoning their studies. And then Athena reveals that Harry dropped out, and May is just as surprised. Harry says that when he turned 18, he dropped out and started working at the coffee shop instead. And Athena is like, I take comfort in me last to know, but he was living under your roof. How'd you miss it? Stop parentifying eldest daughters.
I know, like I'm just like,
Right?
okay, that is not her child. Like May is a grown adult, doesn't mean she takes care of your child. Like yeah.
Also,
Like
she's only like what, like 4 years older than
I think
Harry?
she's
Like,
like 22, 23. I'm
mhm.
assuming like 23.
I think so, because she would have done like her gap year.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. And I
I'm
think it
thinking.
was
And
mentioned
we
at
know
some point.
we know Harry's 18, so it's like, hey, like, stop parentifying your eldest child. Like, that's it's not even like it's a she should be keeping watch of him as like a guardian or something. No, he's literally a goddamn adult.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
can't control anything that he does. He's an adult, and like if he wasn't, she wouldn't have him living under her roof. So like if he's 18, he can, be where he want and
Yeah.
stuff. Like she has no control over that. And what's she gonna do? It's like if May even was gonna be like in charge of him, what's she gonna do to her younger brother? If I at that age, those ages, if I had told my brother what to do, he probably would try to fight me. As an
Right.
older sister, as the oldest, I'm talking from experience. Even now, if I were to say something, my brother would shoot it down so fast.
Even I telling my and I'm 23, telling my 14-year-old brother would listen to me. My 11-year-old brother, my 11 to 12-year-old brother, he barely listens to his mom and my dad. Like he listens to me barely. So no, it doesn't work like I get Athena's just like frustrated and like but it's like still that's not May's responsibility. And even May is like, you're his mom. How did you miss it? And Athena's like, well, what is that supposed to mean? And they call her out for not being around. And you know what? As much as I feel for Athena, I'm glad they are calling her out on her. Like, oh, no bullshit. Because, they need her. They're still her
Yeah.
kids. And they invite her to do things and she says no, or she cancels an hour before. Harry said, mentions all the things they do. Every Thursday night they go to Hen and Karen's for a home cooked meal. And Athena is always invited and she never shows. Sunday FaceTime pancakes with dad, and Monday night bachelor with Buck.
I love how they're just like doing all these things with the 118. Like, and
Yep.
I think it's so cool that like, this is their family. And so they're like,
Mhm.
having dinner and like doing different things with everyone. And I think it's even like cool for like, Buck and like everyone for like
Mm-hmm.
almost like taking him under like his wing, like, keeping him close, like,
Yeah.
because it's hard. And
Well,
especially being young, dealing with this stuff.
right, and it's really cool because this happens in a lot of firehouses when they lose a firefighter, no matter who it is. oftentimes the other firefighters that are left are the ones that like spend time with their kids, take them to do things. Like if they lose their dad, like the guys might step up and help the kid learn how to play baseball or and go to the kids' games and things like that. So this is that like they're not kids now, but they're, you know, old enough that we want them to know, hey, we're not going to forget you guys just because Bobby died.
Right.
And you know, and of course on the other end, I also think it's hilarious that they keep dropping TV show comments of another ABC shows. Bachelor.
Yes.
And that's something Buck would definitely
Oh, yeah.
watch and then like just
He
be like,
absolutely does.
and it's not like May watches it and gets Buck into it. It's like Buck watches it and it's like May's like, oh, I watched that. Yeah, okay, you can come over. Okay, we watch it.
Yeah, because they're not actually that far apart. Well, I guess they are like about a decade or so apart in age, but like, you know, they're not that much, and maybe not maturity wise anyway. He they're siblings essentially, and I love
Yeah.
that. But I do love that. It does make me think of this year when 9/11, the anniversary of 9/11 rolled around. Again, I was seeing a lot more things online, different stories and stuff. Made me so depressed, obviously. But there was one that was a little heartwarming, and it was about a girl who had lost her father.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
I kind of agree.
Yeah, her father was a firefighter who died in the towers, and she got married. I think this was a couple of years ago technically, but like all the guys from her dad's station showed up
Yeah.
to like be with her for her wedding, and I just think that's so cute, and that is like real example of it, and I love that they
Mhm.
like translate that into shows as well
Mhm.
because you know it's a family, and just saying as someone who is you know now part of that a bit, like I have seen like everyone gets roped in. Everyone
Right?
gets roped into that. Very much a family affair. May mentions Bobby's dedication ceremony, and Athena says, you know, that she's sorry, she wanted to be there, and May says, you weren't though, and they lost Bobby and they lost her too. And that was really hard to hear.
Oh, yeah.
And Athena's
Yeah.
like, that's not true. Like, I'm here now. She's still their mother. And Harry starts to walk off, and Athena calls him, and Harry says she hasn't been their mother since Bobby died. That one, you saw that hit her square
Yeah.
in the chest.
Well,
Yeah.
And even May like was looking back and was like, Harry, like she ran after.
yeah. Well, and unfortunately, this happens more often than not. You know, when in a couple, when one of them passes away, oftentimes the other one can, you know, fall by the wayside, or they just gotta get lost in themselves, and then they stop realizing, oh yeah, they have other people to take care of too. So for Athena, she was burying herself in work and putting everything else aside, including her own children.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I
she
think it's
definitely
just
needed to
like,
hear it.
yeah, and like I can't even imagine because I've like obviously we've all experienced loss. Like I've never experienced this type of loss, like the loss of a partner. But like I can't imagine how difficult it is to, you know, have the person you've chosen to spend the rest of your life with, like basically the other part of your soul, and then to lose them, and then you're missing part of yourself. Not even the way that the part of yourself that like you had kids and like they were a part of you, they still are a part of you, and you lose them. Like that's also difficult, but that's like another way. I just can't imagine it. So it's like I definitely feel for Athena, but I also like I do feel for the kids too, because you know, as you said, like you do feel about like you've just withdrawn to yourself, and she did. So, and like this is the second like love of her life that she has lost as well, but the kids weren't around for the first one.
Right.
So it's it's difficult. I don't know. I feel bad for everyone. So now on to slightly happier things. So Hen is just minding her own damn business. And she goes up to the ambulance and just
Out jumps
jump
an
out.
alien
An
That was
alien with
so
like
funny.
that's
I
dressed
can
like a
see behind
firefighter.
the scenes of that. Oh no, they
This
did come over. They're among us now.
this reminds me of that scene like a couple of seasons ago when like they kind of like were like behind her that they like put the popcorn over her
Oh,
head.
yeah. They jump it when she was acting captain and going
Yeah.
to school.
Oh gosh, yes, I forgot that. But no, that does remind me of it. Also like the ambulance is just the best place to jump out at people from, is what I've learned. because like I don't know. No, it's just like peak
Yeah.
scene. And it was who was it underneath of the name?
Eddie.
Eddie,
It
yeah.
was Eddie. Okay.
Yeah,
Of
and he's
course it
like,
was.
yeah, and then he's we thought, I don't remember how it said, and then Buck's like, it was my idea, and he's like, I didn't say it wasn't. And he's like, well, you didn't say it was.
I'm
And
like,
it's
Buck,
like,
I don't know that saying that's your idea isn't doing it already. But he was like, you gotta be prepared for anything you encounter out there. And maybe also bring one of us along.
yeah, like them all
That's the
just
whole.
wanting to go.
It was just a really funny scene, and I'm kind of glad we did have that because heartedness in between the last scene and this upcoming one.
Right.
This upcoming one's a doozy. So we get Athena responding to a call about a smell. And whenever you get a call about a smell, it's not generally a good thing. The landlord thinks it's a joke, but then they get to the door and there is so much mail at the floor. And when they go inside, it does smell. And Athena thinks this lady's dead. And she's literally calling it in. And then she's alive. And it just seems like she's got some infection. And you can see it on her face. And it's so like her body is in a state of decomposition.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, that is hard. Got
Yeah,
it.
I think they say
Okay.
something about they think it's necrotizing fasciitis.
Yeah.
Is that what they called it?
You know what
I
the
didn't catch like
scene?
what they actually said it was.
Yeah, honestly. You know what this scene reminded me of? They were like two different scenes, but like sort of gave me the same vibe. So like in season one of Lone Star, when they show up at that guy's house where his mother was in the bed with like Tim Nancy and Michelle, and
Aw,
like
I
she
forgot
had
about that.
been dead.
Oh, and they ask him to her those CPR or something, and they to do it on a dead body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
remember
what that
that.
reminded me of, but like totally different. But like I was like, is she just gonna be like dead? And I'm just like, it was like it's terrible, but it's also like a little creepy. I'm like, it's like maybe like a little like a couple weeks too early for Halloween.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Well, I what it made me think of was not actually 911 related. It was Criminal Minds related because
Mm.
it just made me think of like I'm pretty sure this happened more than once, but I'm thinking one incident in particular where they were like tracking down a serial killer and they had already like deduced that this person had probably been like emasculated by a like feminine power in their life, like probably the mother or a wife or something like that. And they roll up to the house that they find an address for, and they wind up finding that it's the mom, say, but she's been like dead for a year and is
Mhm.
still there. Um, and they're like, oh, that's what triggered this whole thing. Um, that's what that makes me think of because that's happened at least once, if not multiple times on Criminal Minds. So
Mm.
that's what I was thinking of the entire time. But then, oh, she's never alive. Okay, never mind. And what's sad is that she is almost dead. Like she keeps going in and out. Like they have to,
Mhm.
they have to shock her. And throughout this, they're telling the story of her life a little bit, and it's like it's going from like this love story and friends having a game night and a marriage and having a baby and not bringing the baby home and then leading to separation.
Yeah.
And you want to know what this made me think of? The Up opening scene, but gone wrong.
Yeah, I feel that.
Mhm.
And it's like, I was telling you guys this before we started recording, but like a lot of times they do these like stories in 911 and I'm like not invested in all. I'm just like, oh, nobody cares. Let's get back to the main plot. But like I was so like invested in this and I'm like, oh, I hope we go come back to this because I was really invested and I was like, "Oh, I want to know more about this." And it's just like, okay, this one got my attention a little bit more than they usually do. Usually I'm like, okay, let's not waste a bunch of time on plot that doesn't actually have to do with like our
Right.
main characters. But it was like sad and like and stuff and it's funny because like I was like predicting almost like what they were gonna do with this almost
Yeah.
instantly, and I'm
Hmm.
just like, oh, this is sad. I wish, it
Yeah,
is
it was
sad, but
just sad.
I'm really hoping. Well, I'm sure they will. go back to it because there has to be a reason why they brought it up.
Oh, I was like, I think like obviously we see like it kind of is a little bit of a wake up call for Athena, and we see that already. So they could potentially leave it at they could see I would think they were gonna leave it at that, if not for in a couple of scenes where she shows up at the hospital. And so like I do wonder if we're going to possibly bring it back up again. I don't know. I'm very curious because I feel like it could go either way.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they bring it up again, but if they don't, like, it's not like a huge deal.
Yeah.
But I feel like they left it open enough where something could come up, like a family member could possibly come up, or like her ex or something.
Yeah, I think they took it in this direction just to give Athena some perspective, because you could see her standing next to the wall where there was a picture and it was tipped over, and then she picked it up and saw that it was the husband and wife, and then they're nowhere to be seen, and then you could start seeing the flashbacks. So I was like, kind of giving her a perspective of this could be her life if she doesn't take charge and take care of herself now. She's going to end up alienating her kids and anybody else in her life because she's not willing to deal with the grief of losing Bobby. And I think this was helping her to have a wake-up call. I don't think a wake-up call deserves going to space, but hey, midlife crisis.
Sure. You know what? You know what our queen deserves.
If it's going to be anybody, it's going to be Athena.
But you know what? She probably wishes to have her midlife crisis in the form of a sports car, like a lot of men, instead of this. Anyway, yeah, just a very sad scene. Definitely impactful.
Yeah.
And then we're back. We get a little bit of funny. We basically get the 118 bribing Hen to go to space. And they're just bickering, and they're devolving into bickering among each other, and Hen's just there, and she's like, you know what, I didn't even want to go to space, but you know what I want right now? Space.
Space sounds good. I love that line.
Amazing. I would have that on a t-shirt, actually. I loved that line.
That was a good line.
And it's like everyone fighting over, like, either bribing her or getting her something, and like Chim being like, well, we're best friends.
2 decades of best friendship.
I love the flex Chim, but like it was just funny, like what they all had to say.
And he just awards her with like firefighter of the month, which has never
She's
been
like, that's
thing.
not a thing.
Well, it is now.
It's something new.
Specifically for that month. Yeah, it was just really funny. So this is the scene I was talking about, where Athena's going to the hospital. She finds out the woman's infection's being treated, but she's still unconscious. And Athena says they haven't found her family yet, and the doctor hopes she does because it makes a difference if someone cares. And universally, 100% true. It makes a difference if someone cares. Humans are social creatures.
Yeah, it's true.
So now we go to Eddie and Chim. This is basically Chim just shows up on Eddie's doorstep with beer, and his part is like truce is essentially what's going on here. Apparently Hen sent them both the voicemail, and so they're basically just commiserating with each other. But Eddie does say how he is glad, like everyone's glad that Chim is in charge. And Chim says how he spends half the day trying to convince himself that he can do this, and the other half waiting for Chief Simpson to finally tell him he found a real captain to take over. And Eddie talks about how Chim could be the real captain, and all Chim has to do is take the test, and he doesn't know why he won't. And Chim says it doesn't feel right. It feels disrespectful for him, of all people, to try and step in Bobby's shoes. Eddie says how these past 6 months, so we have a timeline, 6 months without Bobby has been tough enough. Someone coming from the outside wouldn't stand a chance. And Eddie says how they're lucky to have Chim most of the time. And Chim says thanks, and that he misses Bobby. And Eddie says, me too.
Yeah.
I think that is a universal sentiment among watchers at this point.
And it's nice to see, and I think Chim needed to hear that from somebody that's not Maddie. And it would, I mean, obviously look at what happened with Gerard, like him coming in, and he had been a captain at 15, but because
that was worse.
Yeah, but they don't like. hard telling what they could get off the street. Like, granted, it's not going to be off the street, but like, they're going to get some random captain, or is Owen Strand going to come up and say, "Yeah, I gave up my."
That would be the biggest plot twist, and everyone would hate it.
I stopped myself when I was like, you gave up fire commissioner in New York to come be a captain at the 118. Sorry, that was just like, no, I went way far out of that one.
That was so funny. Though I loved the scene though, because it was such a rare thing for like Chim to be showing up on Eddie's doorstep. We really don't get like much solo scenes with them, so I really enjoyed it. And I was just like, this is great. Like, because it's usually like Buck showing up on Eddie's doorstep and like that kind of thing, and like reciprocal that way. So I just loved that it was Chim, and to see like another perspective of our lovely 118.
Right.
Yeah, I know, I agree. It was definitely good because we really don't get those solo scenes. And I really hope we continue to get some more dynamics, like changing a bit. Not like changing, but really gain some, perspectives that we haven't really gotten to see yet. And also what I love is, because I feel like we brought this up last season when we were talking about the whole captain thing. I am glad they brought up the captain's test.
Yes.
I'm glad they brought up that, it's not as simple as Chim just being, promoted. He's got to test into it. He's got to get certain certifications. I feel like I have a big memory that we spoke about this previously when we were talking about the whole captain's debate and everything. And so I'm glad they talked about it. It's just, it's nice when there's a little bit of follow through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do like them talking about it, and I'm glad that they're like talking about like it testing wise. And just like thinking about Captain, I think I would hate it if it was just some random person that like a new character that was Captain.
Yeah.
Because at least if it's somebody at the 118, or at least if it's Chim, like at least they all know Bobby. And so like, things that Bobby did aren't gonna like change. And like, there'll be like some new changes, but at least like
it has to be
the morals that like Bobby instilled in all of them, and like the traditions will still be there.
Right.
100%. So now we move on and we see Buck, and we just kind of get close-ups on him that we can I feel like you can kind of tell he's lying on the floor, but he's talking, but you can't see who he's talking to. And he's saying how the truth is he doesn't want to go to space. He doesn't even like flying domestically. But Chim was yelling at Eddie, and Eddie was yelling at Chim, and Buck didn't want to feel left out. And he said, the weird part is, after Hen walked away, he turned around half expecting to see Bobby there, shaking his head and giving him that "what were you thinking" face. And Buck says how obviously he wasn't there. And Buck says that he even misses his looks of disappointment. And I'm just like, oh. And that I feel like is that has been what's going on in a few episodes of last season. This episode so far, like, he is lost. He's lost. He just wants to be part of something, and he's missing Bobby.
For sure.
And then we get Maddie saying Buck on the baby monitor, and she tells him that he needs to stop this past his bedtime because he was talking to little Bobby.
I was wondering when the scene started, I was like, who the hell is he talking to?
Right.
I was like, if we get the emotional whiplash of him like speaking to like a random hookup or something like that in this scene, like, first of all,
I was like, is he talking to the
poor
Bobby?
girl or guy? Right? Imagine we just saw
baby
Ghost
Bobby,
Bobby
like
in the corner.
Like Bobby in the universe. Like, I was like, that's what I thought he was doing at first, and I was like, oh, okay, Bobby Jr.
Because he was speaking about Bobby in the third person. I was like, that'd be weird, because I did think about that originally, and then no, he was just speaking to baby Bobby. So I was like, yeah, and that's good. That was so cute, honestly.
Well, and the way he was laying, like he was laying with his hands back tucked under his head, just kind of relaxed. I'm like, so this is like his therapy, is to go talk to little Bobby, because to him that's the essence of Bobby, I guess. Yeah.
On that note, Buck, go see Dr. Copeland or Frank, somebody.
Right.
know.
Boy needs to
Peace
get back into
too.
therapy.
They all
On that
need
note,
to go to like some form of like grief counseling.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I think for sure. And I think Buck just needs to go back to therapy anyway, for a few
Mhm.
things. I really love that they did start that, but then they just fell off on it. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Keep him in therapy, please.
Right.
So,
But I love that Maddie still gave him time. We were getting kind
yeah.
of Uncle Buck time, even though he like
Yeah.
wasn't holding him. He was still Uncle Buck, which is cute.
Yeah, it was really cute. So now we go to Hannah, and Athena says she went to see Gina from the call early in the hospital, and she says how she thinks she had a different life before, people who care and people who would have called. And Athena can't help but think, what if they stopped calling? Or, she stopped answering. And Hen, being the smart woman she is, goes, she is not you. And Athena says how it's hard being around people who loved him, even her own kids. And she knows it sounds crazy, but that's how she feels. That's why she didn't go to the dedication. She knows it was important, and as you said, Lord knows he deserves the honor, but she also knew she couldn't take sitting there listening to all the great Bobby Nash stories. It hurt too much. And she says that she doesn't want to talk about him. She just wants to talk to him. I was like, oh, that hit me square in the chest. Got it.
I was like, don't we all?
That was a hard hitter. And Hen says that she can talk all the time, or she can take all the time she needs to grieve,
Mm-hmm.
and they will keep inviting her to dinner no matter how many times she turns them down. And Athena says she has learned her lesson, and at the next invite she gets, the answer is yes.
Yep.
And you
And I'm
see
like,
Hen's face as
Like,
she's
I'm like, Athena, are we sure about this one? Maybe like the one
wait.
after that.
Yeah.
Like,
gosh, yeah.
I get that because sometimes you're just like, no, no, I don't want to do this. But then it's like at some point you have to be like, I need to start saying yes to things. I need to do things
Yeah.
because it's good to do things. It's good for like your mental health and like it's good to like let people in. But I'm just like, Athena, are we sure about this one?
Right.
And Hen's like sigh. I'm like, oh no. So that's how she got her in there. Anyway, so we get glimpses of the rocket launching and have Athena and Hen going up into space. And that's where the episode ends.
Yeah, to be honest, I blacked out the first watch, so the second watch I was like, oh right, this is how we ended.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
couldn't remember if she physically asked her yet or not. So I was just like, oh right, yeah. Yeah,
I get the
this makes
feeling
sense now.
I get the feeling that we're gonna open up next episode to her going, I can't believe you talked me into this, which is like kind of like we got in that trail. I feel like
It's
we're
gonna
gonna go to that with
yeah,
the actual act.
Yeah.
it's gonna
But
be like the cruise ship all over again.
Right.
oh gosh, yes. Yeah. She's at least this way she's like she can't exactly say she's never setting foot in a spaceship again because like that was already a once in a lifetime experience anyway.
Right.
But yeah, let me tell you, if it ever I feel like if it ever comes down to it and we all have to move to Mars or something, I have a feeling
Mhm.
Tina and Hen will be the last. They will not go. They will just die on planet Earth.
I'm with you.
Me too. No, no, no. Anyway, I guess final thoughts. What do you
Um,
guys think?
I really like this episode. It reminded me of like old 911. Good stuff for the most part. I don't know. I don't know. This is like the episode I know like some of the episodes towards last season with everything that happened were kind of a little wonky, but I feel like we're back and I'm interested to see where we go from here. I'm hoping they keep like the momentum going with the three-part emergency. I hope it doesn't like, go downhill. Because there is sometimes I feel like they do overdo it sometimes. But I feel like we got like a good start, so it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I did too. It felt like kind of 911, like the 911 that I would expect. There's some fun, there's some witty
Yeah.
banter, there's some serious moments, and I think something I'm really enjoying is actually seeing what we remember as kids almost 10 years ago are now almost like young adults. and seeing their perspectives and having them included more in the series. And we know like Kareen and the kid who playing Harry have been promoted to season like series regulars, so we know they're going to be in the series a lot more. And I think it's just really cool that we're getting that, which is giving, I think, a new element to the series that we hadn't really had before. And I think for the series, this was a good start to season 9. I mean, I have a lot of questions and a lot of stuff. I'm like, okay, well, where are we going to go from here for some stuff? But all in all, I think it was a good start. And I actually like Katie was saying, I hope they stick and keep the momentum going. And I like when they do the 3, if they do it right. And I think they're doing it so far, at least from the first episode. Yeah. And I remember in some of the many interviews that have been posted in the last few months, I saw an interview where somebody had asked Ryan about Eddie for season 9. And Ryan had asked for Eddie to have more responsibility, which I think is why he got to be the one to jump down off the bridge and go swimming instead of like Buck, which, so they made that a little bit of a joke. But I'm like, good. Like, I want Eddie to have more serious, like, not a serious role, but like not always just be the second thought,
I feel like he has played a passive role a lot in the series, so
yeah, there's been a
for that.
few times where like he's had some experience. And I remember obviously like the very first time we meet him and he's like doing the chest decompression with the needle, and the like Buck's like, why can't I, he wouldn't have been able to do that, but Eddie was able to, and they gave him that. But yeah, I feel like over the years he's just been kind of like Buck and Eddie's partner, like they've been partners and done a lot of stuff together, but Eddie's never been taken that next step. So I like where they're going with that. And I hope that Buck and Eddie continue to have the relationship that we all know they have as best friends. And, that I know them not working together, quote unquote, on the, ambulance or the trucks it's not going to change their friendship. But I mean, to Buck, it might, I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. I'm curious where they're going with this. And I want to see more Uncle Buck too. So I'm glad we got a little
that
taste
was a good taste. And that was one of the things I wanted, and I was so happy that in the first episode we're getting that, which love it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Also I looked up because I realized I had no idea what the name of the actor is who plays Harry right now. I was like, I have no idea what his name is. His name is Elijah.
I have a
So
feeling.
Corinne and Elijah. I figured it would probably be beneficial to know that since they're now series regulars.
Yes.
I really liked this episode. As I was saying in like ever since we came back from hiatus, I feel like I was kind of clear that I was looking forward to season 9, but I was a little apprehensive. I hadn't really liked the trailer, or at least the original promo piece that they did. Not necessarily the promo for the actual episode. But the original promo I hadn't liked. Like I was a little nervous coming off of season 8. So I was definitely a little nervous, but I really, really liked this episode. I am enjoying, actually, and I'll say it, I am enjoying seeing Chim as captain. And I was fully on Team Hen for the captain's position. And let me be clear, I still think she would be my first choice all over again. But I'm liking seeing Chim settle into it. And I'm not mad about it if he continues to go on and decide to do the captain's test. I'm like, okay, he's actually going into it. So loving seeing that, loving the conversations about grief that we are having, and we're going to have so many more. We know that, but definitely enjoying all the conversations. Definitely interested to see the like on the nose analogy they're doing with this whole Trip Hauser trip to space kind of thing, tech billionaire, eat the rich. Definitely interested to see how they continue doing that. Just overall, I just really you guys are definitely right because it did feel like the old 911. And I need that. I need that. I need them to keep up that momentum. Obviously, first episode of the entire season, but I really hope they keep it up the entire time. And yeah, I'm very excited for the rest of it.
Yeah, me too.
Do we have fan thoughts?
I think there's one. I definitely liked it, but as someone who deals with grief, it's almost hard to watch the scene with Athena or Buck grieving. Excited for the next episode, which I definitely feel that. And I did want to explain the fan thoughts thing a little bit just because I'm gonna like restructure, I guess is a good way to put it, of like the fan thoughts. So instead of like making a new form for every single episode or every like a brand new link for every single episode, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna I think this should work, but I'm gonna like keep one form, so it's gonna be the same form everything single episode. So I'll like close the form every single week, obviously, but then once the episode airs on the East Coast, I'll um after it's done airing, I'll open it back up. Sometimes I might forget, so like it might be open later. But so it'll be the same form, same link, so we can have it like all the time on our website. I'll have it like in the description of the podcast, and like in our bio and like our beacons and stuff like that. And I'll put it in my bio. And then I'll still like post it on like Twitter and threads and all that kind of stuff. But it'll just be the same link, which will be so much easier. So I did want to explain that, and I think I'm also might like just do like a post like on like Instagram and like TikTok for like those comment sections. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just like put the comments all in one place. So I'm reading it from one place just so like everyone can comment. And then
Yeah.
I always like I have all the information in the form. So like if the form doesn't work, which I had to test it today because I was like, why isn't this working? And I realized I messed something up. Just fine. And then I also have like our email in there because I know sometimes people comment things and they'll email them, which I always like reading and stuff. Any of those other options do not work. There's that. So I just wanted to say that, and I'll probably make this like a video that I'll post so that way everyone knows. But I feel like this is a much more efficient way because before I would just like make a bunch of forms at the same time and then I have to make sure the information was right so that way. And I kind of explained this also in the form that it was just going to be like one form and when it would be up and that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's my spiel on that. But we always love hearing from you guys and hearing like your thoughts and good or bad. I like hearing what you guys think of the episodes because sometimes we don't like the episodes. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have conflicting opinions on things. So we
Right.
love like reading them. And this is honestly like my favorite part. Not even just us doing this, but like when a show drops and then like seeing what people think of it. I love like seeing that stuff.
Yeah, we always, even though a lot of times we are on the same page with how we feel about an episode, like I feel like I spoke about this in a prior episode, so I won't go off about it, but we just sometimes we have conflicting feelings, but also even if we all agree, we do love hearing what other people think, whether that aligns with what we think or otherwise. We just like hearing,
Yeah.
what our fans and other members of the fandom have to say.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll make sure that the website gets the link updated. And so it'll be open like 9 o'clock Eastern time on Thursdays to like Monday sometime when we record, is what you're saying?
Yeah. So typically what I would do is I would make it live at some point after the episode. Sometimes it wasn't the next day, but I will try to make it
Yeah.
up that day. And then I wouldn't cut it off until like we got to the fan thoughts part and stuff. I would like turn it off like when we got to it and stuff.
Cool.
So it would be open even if we were like currently recording, but once we got to that part, I'd probably turn it off.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you keeping up on that.
Okay, so promo for 902. So everyone is watching the rocket launching, like literally televised, of course it is. And so obviously Hannah and Tina are up there. And then I know some of the pieces that were in part of the promo we did see in the big trailer,
Hmm.
but for
That's
the
why I
most
was
part,
confused.
yeah, for the
I
most
was looking
part
at some of that, I'm
it's
like, am
for the
I?
most part half of it is new or they're just highlighting things. But then we obviously have like Trip asking what he's looking at, and this other guy says it's the beginning of a magnetic storm, and I'm like, yep, of course it is in 911 fashion. And then we have the
Naturally.
chaos in the spaceship, and Athena is like asking Mission Control, "Do you copy?" This is like giving me such flashbacks to the cruise ship, and I'm like, oh no. And then Karen and Chim are looking at one of their phones, and Chim says, like, so much for the whole day being off. And we see flares in space. There's explosions, like, on the ground, and Chim yelling for everyone in the engine, which of course we saw before. And yeah, that's pretty much it. They added like a few new elements and just like highlighted things they did already show us. So we
Mhm.
really didn't get much from this. I'm interested to see like different things that come out, the stills and stuff, which I tried to post too. I didn't last week just because I just didn't. I always like looking at those. I like looking at all the key pieces of the episodes. We did start off good, so I am excited to see what happens next.
Honestly, I feel like the kind of trilogy, the first 3 episodes is gonna be we'll kind of get our traditional, but then it's gonna be season episode 4 that I think is gonna show us the more momentum for just regular season episodes. And I'm like, I just realized this. We're gonna get to celebrate episode 911.
I was thinking about that last week in my own time. I was like, we're gonna get to 911 because it's just like they obviously we never get the 118 because they only did 10 episodes for season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And we're never gonna get the 126
Right.
because the
12.
26 episode is not possible unless they were to take 2 seasons to put them together.
Yeah.
And even then, that would be like, would we get there? And yes, so that is cool. And yeah, because episode 4 would be like right around Halloween. So I'm wondering if that's a Halloween episode or if it's
I really hope they do a good Halloween
'cause
episode.
I know they are doing one because I did see like behind the scenes of like whatever they were filming, like very, very like little things.
Someone
But
just like
yeah.
rolls up to like the Wilsons or the Grant household and it's just trick-or-treaters, but someone's wearing a space costume and they just get the door slammed on their
Oh my
faces.
God. No, somebody needs to show up at Athena's
Assault.
with like that whole costume, and Athena's like, nope.
Nope. All right, thank you guys so much for joining us and listening. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can check us out on YouTube and also check out our website at 91lsroundup.com. You can follow us on our socials at 91lsroundup. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And as always, be sure to join us on our Discord. The link's down below and also on our website.
You guys can follow me, Katie, at For the Love of Tarlos on TikTok, Instagram, and Threads.
You guys can follow me, Grace, at RunRafa911 on Instagram and Threads.
You can follow me, EJ, at EJ8302 on Instagram and Threads. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.